it changes if you start saying, it would be fun to go out and do something special with my husband, but because you want to, and maybe they gave you the idea. But as soon as that word should, I think should is that verbal signifier that you're
I love
entering the
that.
space of FOMO. Should is the verbal signifier that we are entering the space of FOMO.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on episode 2. This is Serious Laughs with Molly and Sheri. Today we're talking about FOMO and relationships, the risk of rushing into a relationship out of fear of not having that someone.
FOMO at its core is the fear that we are not enough. All right. So I think FOMO, Molly, can be applied to all kinds of relationships, not just romantic relationships. This mindset we have of missing out is pervasive, I think even more so now, because you can't help but get that invisible yardstick out when you're going on social media. You see someone and, oh my God, her life is so fantastic. That makes me feel so motivated to improve my own. Bullshit. It does not make you feel better about your own life. It makes you feel worse about yourself. Why can't I do that? It invites all of the doubt monsters in your head. And we live in this world where we're constantly getting notifications on our devices. Yeah. One of my good friends, he recently told me he got one of those Nuvo rings. I don't know if you heard of it.
That's not the ring you put in your...
It monitors everything. And I said, did you want it? And he said, not really, but I felt pressure to. And I have to live. Too. It's good to treat yourself. And I'm thinking, did you not just hear what you said? You just contradicted yourself and you rationalized. You said, I want to treat myself, but I got something out of pressure because one of his clients got one and he felt pressure from the client to get the Nuvo ring. Interesting. And he said, but it's good. It's good. It's going to monitor my sleep. It's going to monitor, and I'm thinking, can't you just, for me, I would just want to be less dependent on technology and just listen to the rhythms of my body. Like, okay, I'm tired. I think I'll go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I'm like, I got my husband's old watch because I coach cycle and I do go to the gym and I like to see numbers with my workouts. And that's just me.
Same.
Okay, exactly. So like I took the old one, don't care. But he's like he got the new one and he'll be like, all right, well, my sleep cycle looks like, got to recharge today. And I'm like, dude, just fucking, you're tired.
Yeah.
Go to bed earlier, fucking drink some tea before you go. And I get it. And I'm not knocking it, but if you wake up and you're tired, you don't have to look at a watch to tell you you're tired. You're fucking tired.
Exactly. What I mean? Exactly. Yeah. It monitors your oxygen levels. I think the Greeks had it right. Everything in moderation. But but to me, the Nuvo ring and all this new technology, we are getting so dependent on it. It's also, it's doing two things. It's taking away our sense of inner validation. Like I need a device. I need something external to inform me of how I'm doing. And two, that is what promotes this FOMO, this fear of missing out. Because I think the foundation of FOMO is a lack of faith in yourself.
Yeah.
And what better way to shake up your faith in yourself than depending on something outside of you?
Right.
I think I'm tired. Well, let me see what this device says. Oh, it says I'm not tired. I guess I'm awake.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Josh, who's my husband. But he'll say, well, I didn't get enough. I guess I'm not going to work out as hard today. Or I got a lot of sleep, got to really crush it in the gym. And I'm just like, well, maybe it's just maybe not a day for you to do it, or maybe I don't know. Yeah. So I love that. You kind of like lost faith in yourself and that gut response, I guess, to just.
I want to talk about, and I wrote about it in the article.
Yep.
But I'm going to talk about it in my own personal experience.
Let's go.
So several moons ago, I was introduced to a gentleman who was recently divorced. Really nice guy. We went to this Italian restaurant. Some Frank Sinatra was playing, and I could feel his FOMO. It was like oozing out of his ears, popping out of his eyes. He was looking at me like I was, just, I don't know, Playboy bunny. Like he had hit the jackpot with me, which is flattering. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Everything that came out of his mouth was compliments on steroids, like just over the top. He said so Frank Sinatra was playing, and he said, "This is meant to be. Do you hear what's playing?" And we went on a date. It was March 18th. And he said, 18's a lucky number. So I said, yeah, that was my marriage date. So, which obviously I'm divorced now. So he, but nothing would stop him from constantly seeing the glasses half full, that we were meant to be. He said, I want to see you again. I want to see you again. Like so over the top. And I said, how long have you been divorced? We were set up through colleagues.
Okay.
And he said, I have been divorced about a month now. And I said, wow, I have been divorced for almost 10 years. So big difference. Yeah. And I was looking at it through the eyes of someone who worked really hard to not have FOMO in my romantic relationships, to the point now where I'm the other way. I'm more like, do I really need a relationship? Like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good because I feel so good inside. That doesn't mean I don't want to share companionship with someone, but I have self-worth. I know who I am. And so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen organically over time. It's not going to happen in an Italian restaurant where I put FOMO faith into something external and I look for, magical thinking signs like, Frank Sinatra's playing. We're meeting on the 18th. This is all fate.
Yeah.
So at the end of the date, he wanted to see me the next day. And I said, I'm busy, but maybe we could see each other. I don't remember what it was, like that weekend. And he's like, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I ended up getting sick. I got a cold and I wrote him. I said, I'm so sorry. I can't meet you for dinner tonight. I mean, I was that kind of sick where you have a head cold and you sound like Bart Simpson. Like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to make this. So he did the ... And, usually the ... I don't think anything of it, but I could tell it was his FOMO talking. Oh, you're really sick? ... Yes, I'm genuinely sick. So when I got better a few days later, or I forgot what it was, but long story short, I wrote him and said, I'd love to go out. And he said, can we talk? So I said, sure. So he said, you are fantastic. I mean, I felt a real connection. And the 18th and the
and
music,
Frankie.
the Frank Sinatra playing, I think we're meant to be. And he said something, he's like, and I believe in signs, and the digits of your phone number are the same digits of my address. I mean, we're talking like, giving away your power left and right.
Oh no.
Divorced a month. He said, but I met someone.
Okay.
I said, oh,
what?
Like this week? He said, yeah. And we went away for the weekend. I'm like, wait, I just had a head cold. Like, what? What just happened? And he said, "You're great. Could we meet for coffee though? Because I'd like to, I'm new at this
Oh.
dating thing." I'm like, I don't know if I like that idea. You're kind of with someone now in the past week. So,
Oh my
um,
God.
yeah, that's FOMO. That's FOMO. And I said, I'm going to just say something to you. I hope it works out with this woman, but you haven't been divorced more than a month. You don't even know what you like and you don't like. And he said, well, she gave me a lot of attention and affection, and it felt good. I said, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it did. I'm a slow burn kind of gal, but and he said, you're probably wiser than I am. And I said, no, I'm just experienced,
Yeah.
but I could see the self-esteem. And that's a quote I want to read. If we don't address the grief in our hearts, if we don't feel stable on our own, we create an affinity for FOMO in our lives. And this gentleman did just that. He did not acknowledge the fact that his marriage ended in divorce. He didn't acknowledge it. And if he had, he would have realized that most of the dinner, when he wasn't praising me for things that shouldn't be praised,
Yeah.
he would have realized that most of the time he was talking about how he didn't want the divorce and how she was his high school sweetheart. And he still can't believe she left him. So this is a man who's gutted. And instead of sitting with that grief, he had to have a someone. And I've been there. But I want better for others. I want better for our listeners. And whether that's a romantic relationship or a relationship with a family member, when you base your actions on FOMO,
which, by the way, fear of missing out. Okay, because I've seen it all over the place. I had to ask my husband. He was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? It's fear of missing out." And I was like, "Oh, I guess that makes sense." Sorry, Sheri. I just wanted to clarify that with people.
No, why sorry? I think that's great. No, you're absolutely right. I looked up on this topic before we went live here, and it was actually started by a college student at Harvard. I think it was a student. Now I can't remember. It was late at night. I need to get more sleep. But from Harvard, and it was like hobo or something was the first phrasing of it. He wrote a paper, fear of something better out there. So that's how it started. But it morphed to FOMO.
I mean, do you remember, like, I remember kids in college, you try to like set up plans with somebody, and there was always that one friend who would never commit. You'd never commit to the plans. No, I'm just going to hang out. And then you finally catch on. You're like, oh, no, they're just waiting for something better to come along, something more interesting, something. And you finally catch on. You're like, you're not worth my time then. If you I didn't care for that. And I love what you brought up just a minute ago with the FOMO, that it's the fear that we're not enough. It's the insecurity. And that if this gentleman had just sat with that grief, and just honed it in, that he could have looked inward, and, however he would have done it to really honor the life that he had with his ex-wife, and then give himself the opportunity to put his best foot forward. And is there a point, because when you first tell the story, you kind of laugh at the guy. You're like, oh, this desperate guy. So where's that balance? Where is that? There's desperation and then there's FOMO. Is it the same thing, or, what's the difference?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's a spectrum like anything else. Look, I think to a great extent, we all are challenged by moments of FOMO. And there's this fear of acknowledging it. Like, as if you acknowledge the boogeyman in the closet, he's going to come out and get you. But it's the inverse is true. I think you have to lean into the boogeyman, the FOMO. You have to lean into what you're terrified of in order to come out the other end. Think about like a pimple, a zit, right? Like
a nice whitehead.
Nice whitehead. You got to pop that mofo. Pop it. Oh, I love doing that. But if we just go, oh, no, it's not there, it's going to fester. Put a Band-Aid under that,
Yeah.
Have a bacteria grows that way.
Yeah.
But
that's scary for people though, too. There's been points in my life with various different things. It's like, I don't want to know. We're not just talking zits. Okay. I don't want to get into that because I know that when I find out what I know is really there, it's going to be a lot of work. And I don't want to go through that work. It's
no,
too hard. You know what I mean? You're just like,
sometimes life
forces
it. Sometimes life forces it out. I mean,
yeah.
This week, I think I'm the strongest I've ever been. I'm the strongest I've ever been. It's been a lesson in FOMO and fear of missing out. I work for a nonprofit. They're going through a financial structural change. And so I was called in. They're doing away with my position. It wasn't personal. It wasn't, it was purely a business decision. I have a great reference now. This has never happened to me in my life. On top of that, I'm having a health issue. And may have cancer, may not. Well, okay. When you get to a point where the two big things in your life, right? Your job, finances, and your health, your life. When those two things are shown to you as uncertain in your face, right?
Yeah.
You have a choice to scrounge up whatever armor you have left when it's falling apart, or you can get really calm and say, okay, there's nothing left to fear. So let me just be myself and authentic. And the stillness comes over you. When my former boss called me in and told me that, I literally had to comfort her.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't I had to. I felt compelled to. I could see her voice was shaky. I could see her skin was getting blotchy. She felt very uncomfortable. She said, this is purely, business. This is financial. You haven't done anything. And I said, it's okay. No, I know this is hard for you. And that wasn't me being sarcastic. I can see she did not want to do that. And I was able to just be present because I think it was just so shocking that it was too much for me to take in. But the blessing in that, and I'm just hardwired to see the blessings.
That's amazing, by the way.
Well, I mean, it didn't happen initially like that,
sure.
Like anything else.
Take work.
Like it took work, and it's a process. Who knows what I'll be like tomorrow, But ultimately, I'm like, okay, this is a blessing in disguise. There's new opportunities coming. And it's not whether I kept that job or since I lost it is not a determining factor in my self-worth. We tend to think the nouveau ring, the watch that we wear, these are nice things. The boss that gives us a raise or a salary or insurance, the partner, the person down the street who looks at you longingly. We keep thinking, as long as we keep thinking that something outside of ourselves is going to give us self-worth, then we are living a FOMO life.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. One of the things I apologize. I have dogs. 4 of them.
No, you love your canines.
I love them, but when I'm trying to do a podcast, I'm like, guys, I need to give them some weed.
They want to be on the show. They have FOMO.
They do. They have FOMO. You guys, you are missing out. You should be afraid. Tico, whatever your name is. That's one thing I always say, because I coach cycle, and so it's great. Where I teach, I have this little board where I can switch the lights up, and it changes the mood in the class. Like as I'm doing the music, the beat drops, I like hit another light. And a lot of times, my favorite one to use is I just hit black and I turn all the lights off, and I remind people that they aren't doing this for me. They're not getting the numbers up for their neighbor or trying to impress the neighbor. Or who I said, this is all just for you. And when I turn the lights off, don't change anything. Just keep doing you. You don't look for that outside, like, and I get it. Everybody's guilty of doing it,
Yeah.
It's like, God. Did I get a couple likes on my blooper reel today? And, luckily, I think hopefully you could say the same thing. We grew up where, I'm an 80s kid growing up. I didn't I don't care. No. It doesn't affect me, but I know it's affecting the kids these days. And like, that's where they're getting their self-worth. And that makes me really sad to think about that.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great example. Again, we tend to think FOMO is just our relationships that are romantic, but it's not. It's in the gym.
It's in the gym. Let's talk about kids. I have this written down for kids.
Yeah.
So, because I am married. We've been married for 20 years or something. I say that because I've lost count, which is great. Great guy. Love him. So we met when we were 21, and then it worked out in that way. So I'm not midlife and then like looking for a relationship, but the relationship that I do have FOMO on is with my kids. Yeah. Because I wrote down before we did this, one of the things I do, and we kind of talked about this last time, is I don't make a big deal out of stuff. Like birthday parties are great. We have a good time, but I'm not like, I'll take school pictures before, when school starts and when they end, but like some people just work it up, and good on you if you do that. But I'm always like, should I be doing that? Am I missing out on those things? We don't really celebrate our anniversary. Like we might go get a beer or 5, but I'm like, am I missing out? And so I'm like, am I missing out on my kids' things? And so that's my main FOMO is the kids.
Oh, well, I think we'll never get it done. I think we'll always have blind spots. And I also think, Molly, if you are happy, who cares? It's like the relationship with your kids and your husband and how you celebrate or don't celebrate is no different than the way you speak to your students in your cycle class. Turn off the lights. Don't care about what other people think, and make an effort to do that. If you catch yourself, that awareness piece is key. Hey, did I care? Think about it. If you were living in the 1980s, you would not know what, Susie Q down the street was doing, right?
That's true.
True. You only know now because Susie Q posts it all the time. And it's a muscle. It's choosing each time to say, no, I was happy. Now, it changes if you start saying, it would be fun to go out and do something special with my husband, but because you want to, and maybe they gave you the idea. But as soon as that word should, I think should is that verbal signifier that you're entering the space of FOMO. Should is the verbal signifier that we are entering the space of FOMO. And I'm going through that now. I with my career now, I know I'm qualified to do my work well. I know I have a strong work ethic. But I also know the reality. I'm a single mom and I have to provide. So I've allowed fear, particularly at night, to get to me. With job hunting. Oh, I didn't send that resume. Oh, that person's a referral. I don't want them waiting. I want them to,
Right.
And so because there's only so many hours in the day to job search, if I get the slightest lead, I'm like, well, let me just write a really nice cover letter and it'll be midnight.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm telling myself when I do that my health and well-being is less important than me pleasing some stranger I've never met to get a job. Because the truth is, they're not waiting at midnight for me to send that. I can do it the following morning.
100%.
It's pure FOMO. So listeners, we are right there with you.
Yeah. It really does sneak up on you on so many things, even when you don't realize it.
Yeah. And
well,
I want to pull up.
No, you go.
Sorry.
Go. No, you go.
The great quote about
yes,
Brene Brown. Let's see. I love this. I define shame as the intensely painful feeling of experience. I don't have my readers. Let me do that again. Let's do it a second. I define shame as the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. Something we've experienced, done, or failed to do makes us unworthy of connection. Brene Brown. I think shame is a big cornerstone to the fear of missing out. If we didn't have shame, it wouldn't. I feel like shame is the compounder. It's like a negative spiritual vitamin. It's like a toxic pill that we swallow. And, so if going back to that gentleman on the date.
Yeah.
There was shame. He had shame about the relationship not working out. And that when you feel that, I don't know about you, Molly, what is it for you? How does shame manifest in your body?
Oh, I start sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start sweating. I might get emotional.
Yeah.
And I'm very apologetic, I think. Mm-hmm. I have to, let me think of, what do you do? That's a tough question.
I can't mention the person in my life who is not in my life anymore.
Okay.
And I won't even mention the gender, but the person would regularly, thank God I'm not in that situation anymore, but the person would regularly criticize me. Mm-hmm. And I internalized it. And I just remember feeling like an image of a dog being kicked would come up for me. And I would just wait for it to stop. And it's a burning. It would be, my head would get hot. My chest would get hot. Almost like where it's almost so powerful, you want to leave your body, but you don't. But the feeling that would come over me, I would just get, how you think in images sometimes, that I would think of a dog being kicked, and it's a feeling of like the tears are right there under the surface, but they're not coming out. And I'm grateful I'm not in that position anymore. And the way out is reminding yourself that someone who gives you a reason to be shameful is hurting themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I think there too is, I took a note that there's two different types, right? There's being shamed by someone, which was happening to you.
Yes.
And if that's the case for me, then I get angry. Mm-hmm. If I feel like somebody's shaming me, I know I would, luckily I can't think of an instance, but I would get angry. But then there's also shame that you put on yourself. I feel like, and that's a different vibe, right?
Yes.
So that person put that on you. And I'm sure you probably carried that too, though. So that's,
See, and that's why I think if we go back to that quote by Brene Brown, it wouldn't be there. So she makes a
Right.
distinction in one of her books, and I'm paraphrasing here, but um, guilt is a feeling. Shame is, I forgot how she makes the distinction.
Oh, you told me this before. It was brilliant.
Guilt is I feel bad. Shame is I am bad.
Marking that.
Guilt is I feel bad. Shame is I am bad. Because we've all done things and we're like, oh, sorry, and you feel bad. But that person made me feel like I was bad. And I gave away my power when I did that. No one could shame you without your permission.
Yeah.
I allowed that. And you know what? That person's one of my greatest teachers. Because without being poked like that, I wouldn't have made that realization that that's something that needs to be worked on.
Mm-hmm. Can we also just talk about what a fear that is as a parent?
Oh.
That the things you're saying to your kids, I'm like, oh God, I hope it wasn't. I hope I don't want them to feel shame about the things that I'm trying to, like, lessons I'm trying to impart on them. Right. And my oldest is a teenager now, and he's always been a quiet kid. But my youngest, who's very, very vocal, if you say something that hurts his feelings, he will tell you are saying something that makes me sad, and he'll go into the tears. And so I'm just like, oh God, I hope, you're just like, I hope it doesn't stick with him. I didn't mean to hurt you that way. It just sucks.
Yes. I have that too as a parent. I don't know how a parent doesn't have that. Because you can only parent as best you can. You can't control how they ingest your words, how they interpret the words. And that, I think that's where we just go back to, am I trying the best I can? And, there's a book, and we can put it in the chat for everyone. It's called The 4 Agreements.
Oh, I love that one.
You know that one, The 4 Agreements?
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot who writes it. Miguel.
I love it so much. Ruiz,
Miguel Ruiz. We'll find out for you guys. I think it's Miguel Ruiz.
Terrible.
Don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally. That's one of the 4 agreements.
Don't do
because everyone's having their own battle. Everyone. Yep. You never know. And we're only seeing a piece of something of their world.
I looked it up. Okay, so just so we know, Don Miguel Ruiz. We had it half and half.
Yeah, Don. Thank you, Don.
I love it. Yeah, don't take anything personally. And I got to give a shout out to my acting coach, Tom Todoroff. That was one of the required reading books we had to do before we could even get up and do work. Because it's so easy, especially when you're getting up and doing scene work or monologues in front of your coach, to take every fucking thing personally. And it's just like, you're like, oh God, he fucking hates me. He hates what I did. No. He doesn't. No, it's just, we're here to work. We're here to work. We just can't take it personally, and be impeccable with your word. Mm-hmm. Don't make assumptions. Oh, that one's big. Don't make assumptions.
That's a big one. That causes
always do your best.
So many fights. Well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you? And I think when you're with the FOMO thought process, you're going to be more prone to taking things personally, not being impeccable with your word, making assumptions, because you're coming from a lens that's steeped in fear.
Yes. Oh, interesting. Well, I'm going to really try to be aware of this, because I'm like thinking, I'm like, well, there's things I'm fear of missing out on. I'm not, but I bet there's more in my life that I actually think that there is.
Yeah, we get so desensitized with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone posted that I know on social media something about her daughter and how beautifully she's doing. And she was, without going into details, you can tell this was like, she took her daughter to a very expensive photography studio to make this look like, Emily in Paris.
Okay.
And my reaction was vomit, I'm sure listeners can have a ball wanting to psychoanalyze me, but I thought several things at once. It really triggered me, that post. Like, why are you promoting your daughter's achievements on social media? Did you ask permission? Can you have your own life potentially? I don't know why it bothered me. It really,
I don't know.
It just, I don't know. It wasn't horrible what she did. It wasn't like the worst thing a parent could do. She was proud. But for whatever reason, that really niggled me. It really, and so is it because there's a part of me that compares myself to this mom?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
So I don't know is my answer. I'm honest.
Okay.
I don't know. There is that possibility. So I bring it up to point out that the FOMO is there probably without us realizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
And I wanted to bring up an example. Even it affects our very own lives.
Yeah.
FOMO is seen in texting while driving.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, son.
Hi.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Totally guilty.
Let me just text.
Totally guilty.
Same.
I will say I'll do it when I stop at a stoplight, but still same thing. It's fucking better. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like. And it's so stupid. And sometimes I'll be, that's why there's a little crack in here. Cause there was one day I was doing it and I was like, you fucking idiot, just put it down. And I threw it and I was like, sorry about that. But,
you were fighting inwardly with yourself.
I was why do I gotta do that? Give me a break. Yeah, that's a great point.
That's your relationship with your phone. So I don't know if we talked about it at the beginning of the show, but okay. So guys, I have a background in English. So the prefix re means back or again. So your relationship is literally reflecting back to you all the time who and what you are. So your phone you're having a relationship, Molly, with your phone. We all are. Mm-hmm. And that relationship is manifesting in a cracked phone case.
Yeah.
It's letting you know where you are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dang. Really one thing we kind of touched on it a little bit, and let's see if maybe we can get a little more clarity for me. Excuse me. It's the cigs.
Oh my God. I'm right here with you. I can't give it up.
If you're just listening, we have these, what do we call these? I got us these long cigarettes. They're like a foot. They're like 14 inches long.
Really long. They are
hang on to it.
Cigarettes.
Because I don't know. We did this when we started talking to each other on Zoom. Well, Sheri started it and I loved it. We would use pens, but now we got the real thing.
We got the real thing. Hubba. Can you see the smoke circles?
There's no circling on my we talked about it a bit when you with the gentleman on the date, in terms of so for me and for people listening, when we can say to ourselves, oh, I'm FOMOing right now. Not foaming at the mouth. When I'm FOMOing right now, what do I need to do? What can I do actively right now to take myself out? Is it just the acknowledgement, the realization that we're doing it? Or is there one extra step we can do?
Oh, I'd love that question. Remember that book, everyone, Lean In? I never read it, but the concept was lean into whatever it is, hard work, lean into discomfort. I'm a big believer in just leaning in. Right now, I'm leaning into getting a job and leaning into the discomfort of that.
Okay. Continue. This is good.
So when you have that realization, you can lean into it, because I think most of the time our knee-jerk reaction, like, I don't want to lean into the fact that that social media post of that girl made me want to vomit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go there. I prefer safely judging. Makes me feel better.
Yeah.
That's my comfort zone. So, but instead, what if I suggest we lean into, okay, so why do I want to vomit? What is that saying? And I'm not going to go there with all of you. That's what journaling is for.
Right. And it definitely comes back to you. And again, then, okay, so I'm like repeating myself, but it comes back to you. Lean into it, right? Now we're uncomfortable. And then we have to really look inside ourselves to decide what is it that's giving us that feeling.
And there will be an answer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But that's the only way. I mean, there's that saying, the only way out is through. So,
well, this is so relevant. Okay. So I love that. It's out is through. When I do my cycle classes, I got to take it back to this. I always find a quote that or something inspirational that I'll like. I want these people. I like to connect the workout a little bit more, just something physical, right? If we can connect it to our mind and our body or a reason we're there, I love doing that. But this fits so perfectly. It's you don't get stronger by doing what you can. You get stronger by doing what you thought you couldn't.
oh, can you repeat that?
I will.
I am having an intellectual, spiritual orgasm.
Orgasm.
I'm almost done. I need a cigarette.
Give me a sandwich. It is, you don't get stronger by doing what you can. You get stronger by doing what you thought you couldn't. And there again, it's more work. But man, when you get through that, it's like the best feeling. I can't say I do it in everything or every freaking day. God, no, forget it. I'm human.
Right. And that's that self-compassion piece. But if we can just lean, it's the same. Oh my God, I love that.
Okay, I love you. You're great.
I love you.
Aw, start.
Finish.
Start and finish. Man, I don't want to get long in the tooth here. Is that the proper way to say what we're running long today?
We're gonna edit it, right?
We'll edit it. One thing you had down here is speed supermarket shopping analogy. What is that?
Oh my God. So when I
tell.
think of FOMO dating, or someone who's like constantly posting on social media, and I'm not talking about like I know, Molly, you're amazing. You're going to post for us the show for people, and we want people to know about it. But there's a difference between letting people know about the content, being excited to share it. And I had a bowel movement at 2:25. I was right here. This is the toilet paper I used.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a before and after of my stomach. Okay, can we get a close up?
Oh.
You know,
yes. There's a difference between posting. There's differences, right? Are you posting because you need that feedback?
Right.
Am I posting to get the feedback in the comments? I know I've been guilty of it. I'm sure. No, I know I'm not. I'm sure. I know I have. But generally it's like, well, here's, I don't know. I still post stupid shit. So I don't know. I don't do it to get a reaction though. It's just like, well, here, it's on my mind here.
To get a connection, a genuine
that could
connection, be. And also inspiration.
Okay,
like
I love that.
You'll say, come on, guys, I'm out here working out, blah, 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 blah. I can do it. You can do it. You know, whereas a lot of posts are just, I mean, some are funny. You have funny ones. Those are great too. If it entertains, if it informs, that's great. What was the question at the beginning of this next topic? What were we just talking about?
The speed market shopping.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So speed market shopping, and I wish we had a GIF because I don't know how to share my screen.
I know.
But you can go to Booking.com, and you've seen those supermarket shopping things where they're like pushing other people out of the way, and because there's not much time left to get, and they don't even know what they're picking up. They just have to have stuff. They have to consume. And I feel like the dating world, because I'm single, is overflowing with FOMO mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
There is a deficit in the dating world of genuine connection, from what I can
Mm-hmm.
tell. One of my friends from college, I'm not mentioning his name, his wife left him. He really loves her. And instead of dealing with that, he jokes with me and says, I have a spreadsheet of all the women I'm conquering. And he said, I organize them, because he's an actuary. I organize them by birth date and age. And if I wasn't friends with him since we were 18, 19, I'd be like, but because it's like he's like a brother at this point, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I don't even know if it's true. He might be just saying that to be, funny. But if there's just the slightest bit of truth, it's like you're supermarket shopping dating. You're just buying in bulk, just so you can stuff yourself on busyness or pussy instead of dealing with real emotions of holy shit, it really hurts. Why did my wife leave me? What can I learn from this?
Yeah.
What can I learn from past relationships so that I can move forward, and integrate that? And there's this, nobody wants to stay in the pain. They want a quick fix. They want to get out. And I get it. And I'm guilty of, I was guilty of that for a while. And now I'm not supermarket shopping. I'm more like Tiffany's. That's expensive. No, I do not want that. No, thank you.
Yep.
That looks like it comes with a very expensive plan. So now I'm more like just window shopping, because I see this deficit of this FOMO.
And also,
you all want a relationship after the first date.
Yeah. And also you've done so much work on yourself too, to get to that place where you're just confident in yourself and what you have to offer, and not so desperate, for lack of a better term, to get that, to get in there and just conquer. I think it's so interesting. And I've told you this before. I would just, if you were, maybe you are actively dating, but when we first met, I think you were, but just to have to go through that whole process again, from how it's changed to when I was dating. Oh my God, I would not want to be doing that right now.
No,
I would not.
I'm just, there's nothing left of me personally. Like I could use a really good friend. That's all I want right now, because and if it develops into something else with a man, great. But I need a friend. I mean, I wrote a whole book about it, The Friendship Diet, because you really need to see someone over time to figure it out. And when you come on strong, you are telling me you haven't worked on a lot of stuff. Like there's, or maybe you don't run that deep. I don't know. But to think that one dinner means we're in a relationship. No. You don't. There's
it's very off-putting.
It's off-putting. And there's a quote from, oh my God, Shirley MacLaine was in that movie. And oh my God, what was it with Jack Nicholson? What was that movie? Steel Magnolias? No.
Terms of Endearment?
Terms of Endearment. I think it was that one. And someone's hitting on her profusely. And she's attracted to Jack Nicholson. And she says something like, don't put me on a pedestal until I've earned it.
Oh.
I love that.
I love that too.
You're giving away, what is that?
Don't give it all away.
Don't give it all away. Yeah.
Also, don't you want to like get in and not, you know what I mean?
Well,
get to know me better.
Get in if they get in.
All right, there you go.
That's the keys to the kingdom. And I think women tend to, and again, I'm talking in generalization, single women. I've seen people who are single women and divorced, they do the FOMO. They're like, well, at least he'll provide for me. At least I'm like, you could provide for yourself. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I had one friend say, but I'm tired. I'm tired of working. It's like, okay. So what is that?
Like, you're just going to compromise. Don't compromise.
Yeah. But if that's,
there's so much to talk about.
I know. I
could just go on. And also there's another topic we will hit on at some point, because I remember you doing an article about it, or maybe we just talked about it, where you were in a relationship, but it was just like, and just saying, it's friends. We're friends. But how you said it so much fucking better. It's not. I'm gonna kick myself.
Was it the one where if you get body parts involved, you lose your objectivity?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll cut this out. It's stupid, but it's but it was so great where you're just like, I was able to I could just open up because we knew we were friends. And
friendship is the elastic waistband of relationships. I think friendship allows you to just breathe. Once you get involved romantically, too quickly, I'm saying, you get involved romantically, you're thinking with two heads and you make excuses. You're like, well, he didn't mean that. Whereas if you're a friend, you could breathe in the relationship and say, what did you mean by that? And you won't be mean. You're going to be open and more receptive because there's no expectation other than.
That's what it was. Yep. And we could do a whole nother podcast about that. Gosh,
I think I want to end with one thing. So that story, the tortoise and the hare.
Mm-hmm.
FOMO is really like being the hare, and the antithesis, the opposite of that, is the turtle. The turtle's doing what the turtle does. The turtle's gonna get there. They're not lazy, but they own themselves. They can be fine whether they're in a crowd or alone. They can be fine whether they have a job or they don't. They're trusting that everything is unfolding the way it's meant to because they trust their inner guidance. When you trust your inner guidance, you banish FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like care more about what's happening inside than outside. And that's what I'm seeing, like getting let go, maybe having cancer, not having cancer. It forces you to say, well, shit, what can I do? Well, I could cry and feel sorry for myself, or I could go, you know what? Let me think about how I feel. Let me go inward. And then all the other stuff feels like bullshit because I'm not. And then I have more energy to focus on connecting with you, Molly, talking to family, just being present.
Yeah.
Instead of on my phone waiting for someone to approve of me.
That's a good takeaway. I like that. We're going to end it right there.
Okay.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Remember, when everything's going wrong, it just means you're crafting a great story. Stay tuned for more episodes where we turn life's lemons into laughable tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep finding the best in the worst because life's too ridiculous not to laugh at it.